Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care. In the bustling corridors of the Celestial Haven space station, humans mingled with a myriad of alien species, creating a vibrant tapestry of cultures and customs. The human male, Jake, was new to this environment and found himself both excited and overwhelmed by the diversity around him. With a head full of curiosity, he navigated through the market stalls filled with exotic foods and dazzling alien wares, marveling at everything that surrounded him. Having just finished a long day of orientation, he decided to retreat to his personal quarters for a much-needed shower. It wasn't long before steam started to fill the small bathroom as warm water washed away the stress of the day. Jake savored the moment, the warmth enveloping him like a comforting blanket. Little did he know, this act of self-care would set off a chain of surprising events. As he stood beneath the cascading water, reflecting on the day's events and his longing to connect with someone on this new station, a small sliding door quietly opened. An alien maid known as Rena peeked in, her curiosity piqued by the sounds of water splashing and the unfamiliar scent wafting through the air. With sleek skin that shimmered like opal and eyes as green as the lush forests of her home planet, she couldn't help but wonder what a human shower looked like. Rena had seen dozens of humans passing through the station, but had never interacted closely with one. They fascinated her, so different yet so relatable in their emotions. The juxtaposition of their species made her pulse quicken as she wondered if this was the moment to break her usual shyness. Torn between doing her job and indulging her curiosity, she found herself unable to resist the urge to see what was happening. Jake, blissfully unaware, began singing to himself, the notes echoing off the walls of the tiny restroom. Rena stifled a giggle, but quickly squashed it down, realizing that this was a moment she could not miss. The sight through the glass partition was one she never anticipated. A human in his natural, carefree state, completely unaware of the attention he was attracting. Rena was the epitome of what it meant to be a maid in the Celestial Haven. Her duties were many: cleaning, serving, and attending to the visitors of varied species on the massive space station. With her vibrant skin that shifted colors with her emotions and 4 delicate arms capable of handling multiple chores, she was an integral part of the station staff. However, the more she worked, the more she found herself intrigued by the human guests that streamed through the corridors. As Rena glanced around, her mind raced with thoughts about Jake. He was charming in a way she hadn't expected. She could see not just his physical attributes, but the warmth that emanated from him even now, standing under the warm water. She had never intentionally invaded anyone's privacy before, and now she battled with the ethics of her instincts. But the way his hair glistened with droplets, and the gentle smile he wore, even when alone, had coaxed her curiosity beyond the normal limits. Caught up in the moment, she began to wonder, what did humans think about when they showered? Was it the same as her people, who reveled in the cleansing waters of the Xinthai Sea back home? In a culture where emotional expression was tactile and vibrant, the thought of a mere glance sent tingles up her spine. Rena's mind began to wander to the stories of human romance she had come across in the endless databanks of the station. Just as she gathered the courage to reveal herself, the steamy atmosphere transformed into something thicker with tension. What if he didn't want to share this moment? What if he found her strange or off-putting? Despite her hesitations, something primal and compelling stirred within her, urging her to step beyond typical boundaries. Her heart raced with the thrill of spontaneous adventure as she felt herself leaning closer to the door, her alien instincts battling with her sense of decorum. Through the glass partition, Rena finally caught a glimpse of Jake, his laughter echoing gently in her ears as he belted out a tune, completely lost in his own world. The steam enveloped him, creating an ethereal aura that made him seem almost otherworldly. It was in that moment that she realized she wanted to learn more about him, to understand the human behind the joyful facade. Jake stretched, his muscles flexing and glistening under the warm water. Rena felt a flutter in her chest as she watched him. Horrified and enchanted all at once, she found it difficult to tear her gaze away. This was an experience she never could have imagined, a human showering and washing away the weariness of the world outside, looking so blissfully relaxed. Her heart raced with a mixture of excitement and uncertainty. What if he caught her staring? Would he be offended? Or could this be the chance she had been looking for to bridge the gap between their cultures? But there was no denying the undeniable spark that surged through her. Part of her wanted to step away and forget this moment, but another part was excited by the possibilities that danced in her imagination. As moments passed, Rena found her thoughts spiraling. She wondered how he would react if he knew a curious alien maid was watching him. Would he blush? Would he embrace the anomaly of their interaction? Her thoughts jumped from one to another, each more daring than the last. It was absurd, but she felt a strange kinship with him, two beings drawn together by circumstance and curiosity. With every drop of water that fell from Jake's shoulder, Rena felt an urge to approach him, to break the unseen barrier between their worlds. But just as she gathered her courage, she reminded herself of her duties. A maid wasn't supposed to intrude on her guests. Yet her interest was piqued, and the limits set by her position began to blur, mingling with the warmth of the steam and Jake's laughter. In the sanctuary of the shower, the outside world faded into nothingness. Jake was lost in his thoughts when suddenly he heard a faint sound that pulled him back to reality. Was it his imagination, or did he hear a soft giggle? He paid it no mind, enjoying the high notes of the song carrying him away, unaware that the giggle belonged to the very alien maid who had ventured too close just to catch a glimpse. Meanwhile, Rena's heart raced faster than she could have anticipated. She had lingered a little too long, her curiosity getting the better of her. It was time to make a bold decision. With a deep breath, she pushed against the door, stepping into the steam-filled room. The mist swirled around her, giving her an animated presence as she revealed herself completely. The immediate thrill of adrenaline screamed at her, and she steeled her nerves. Jake's gaze snapped to her, wide-eyed in surprise, as the realization of another presence hit him. Her heart sank a little as she noticed the confusion in his expression, but that apprehension was quickly mingled with intrigue. The moment hung in the air, both comedic and electric. "What are you doing here?" Jake stammered, water trickling down his face as he shifted uncomfortably, instinctively trying to cover himself with his hands. Rena felt a heat rush to her face, her bluish-green skin shifting to a brilliant shade of lavender. I was curious," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't mean to pry, I've never seen a human shower before." Her words tumbled out in a flurry of honesty, and she immediately regretted her impulsiveness. His lips broke into an amused grin, a spark igniting in his eyes. "You really shouldn't sneak up on people like that." He feigned mock indignation, but the corners of his mouth lifted in a playful smirk. Despite herself, Rena chuckled, the tension easing between them. "Maybe I should have knocked," she quipped back, feeling an undeniable pull towards this charming stranger. In that moment, Rena made the choice to embrace the thrill of spontaneity, a decision that would reshape their fates. With the barriers of formality shed, a new understanding began to unfurl between them, one that connected their vastly different worlds through laughter and curiosity. The playful banter hung in the air, as both Jake and Rena realized how ridiculous their situation was, a human and an alien maid sharing a moment in a steamy shower. The water cascaded down Jake's body like a curtain, the warmth filling the space. The initial shock of Rena's presence began to dissipate, replaced with a light-hearted atmosphere laden with laughter. "So, what do you think?" Jake asked, raising an eyebrow and gesturing to the water. "How does the human shower compare to your own rituals? Any observations?" Rena's laughter echoed off the tiles, bright and melodic. "Well, for starters, we do not usually shed our clothing to clean ourselves in such a fashion. It feels quite freeing." She looked at him intently, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "But the whole concept of water pouring down, it feels rather enjoyable. I see the appeal now." Jake chuckled, amused by her candidness. The whimsical exchange lightened the mood, and he found himself fascinated by her perspective. "You know, there are fancy devices back on Earth that help make this experience more enjoyable. Like mood lighting and scents, he chimed in, allowing his imagination to wander. Rena tilted her head, her interest piqued. Really? What do the humans do? Have a party while they clean? Her laughter burst forth, and Jake's grin widened. Before he could fend off an unexpected urge, he joked, "If you want, I can show you the Earth version of shower parties. We can have all kinds of fun, perhaps even with bubbles." Suddenly, without warning, Jake slipped on the slick floor, arms flailing wildly as he tried to maintain his balance. In a split second, he crashed into Rena, both tumbling into the shower together. Laughter erupted, echoing through the steamy room as they landed in a mess of limbs, water splashing everywhere. Rena found herself on her back, with Jake hovering closely above her, caught off guard, and unsure whether to laugh or apologize. Their faces inches apart, they both went silent for a heartbeat, the tension thickening. It was a moment suspended in time, where worlds collided in an unexpected mix of clumsiness and chemistry. Well, this is new," Jake managed to say, his cheeks flushing a shade darker than usual. Rena smirked, her eyes twinkling with delight. "Remember, you're the one who wanted to introduce me to shower parties. Is this how they always start?" With laughter ringing in the air, the awkwardness transformed into a delightful dance of playful teasing, their connection deepening in the wake of shared chaos. Together, they laughed at the sheer absurdity of it all, marking the beginning of unexpected adventures tied to the soap-slicked tiles of the shower. As time drifted by, Jake and Rena found themselves gradually untangling from their previous predicament. The mood simmered with warmth and laughter as they both sat up, the water flowing around them and covering their shared embarrassment. With the steam swirling and the light-hearted vibes reigniting, Jake decided it was time to ease into deeper conversation. "So, what is it that made you curious enough to peek in on me showering?" he asked with a playful tilt of his head, wiping water from his face. There was a flicker of mischief in his eyes, challenging Rena to share her thoughts. Rena took a deep breath, the absence of modesty replaced by a rush of exhilaration. "I supposed I've always found humans intriguing. We have so many stories about your kind on Zinthal, but seeing it firsthand, there's magic in it." She glanced coyly up at him. "Especially when you sing." Jake chuckled, scratching the back of his head in slight embarrassment. "I had no idea my singing was giving you such a good impression." "Now that I think about it," Rena said, her expression earnest, "I should probably start singing to brighten my chores too. Should we have shower parties with music every shift?" Jake laughed and nodded, the easy camaraderie enveloping them. "Only if you promise to sing in your alien tongue. I would love to hear that." Then their conversation shifted towards shared experiences, an exploration of their respective races, fascinating traditions, and playful anecdotes from their lives. They exchanged stories about rituals and customs, revealing the humor and joy found within their cultures. Rena described her world's approach to celebration, where colorful festivals employed interspecies dance, while Jake animatedly recounted Earth's strange and wonderful holidays, including a specific one where people threw food at each other, much to Rena's amusement. The laughter flowed freely, along with the water. With each joke, each story, Rena subtly inched closer, their arms occasionally brushing against each other with the swirling steam around them fueling a budding connection. One moment at a time, they were chipping away at the boundaries that stood between them, no longer mere beings from distant worlds. Yet, with the growing comfort, came unavoidable attraction, unspoken feelings that brewed beneath the surface. As the playful banter turned into lingering glances, both Jake and Rena began to realize this connection was deeper than a simple cultural exploration. No words were needed to recognize the spark, a magnetic pull that both thrilled and scared them. The water continued to flow as Jake and Rena emerged from their comical shenanigans into a more delicate atmosphere. Realizing how easily they had slipped from one moment to the next, Jake felt a rush of daring take hold within him. "So, Rena, since you've entered my realm of shower parties and it seems that we're already somewhat acquainted, how about I show you around the station after this?" Rena's eyes widened. It surprised her to hear him suggesting they continue exploring each other's worlds after their unexpected encounter. "You mean, out of the shower?" She mirrored his grin, a touch of excitement fluttering in her chest. That's the idea. We can venture around, sample some human cuisine, and check out everything this place has to offer. I want you to have some Earth-like experiences." His enthusiasm appeared genuine, and with each word, Rena felt a thrill of anticipation. As the offer hung in the air, Rena contemplated the implications. Should she really step outside her boundaries of duty? What if they faced disapproval from others? But the thought of spending more time with Jake convinced her to shift her reservations. The imprints of friendship and a budding romance outweighed any concern. Her curiosity and interest in him overrode it all. "All right, count me in," she replied with a giggle, feeling dizzy with excitement. "But only if I can take my time choosing the right outfit. I wouldn't want to overwhelm those human eyes with a less than stylish first impression." Jake laughed and nodded, his spirits high. "Deal. Just remember, humans are notoriously casual, so no need to stress too much." With a comfortable ease, they continued talking as the water flowed, the earlier awkwardness replaced by shared enjoyment and playful encouragement. After they both finished cleaning themselves, Rena helped Jake dry off, wrapping a towel secured around his waist. Their hands brushed against each other, sending warmth coursing through both. The connection only deepened with every interaction, the tension palpable yet inviting. As Rena reached for the door handle, she paused, turning back to Jake, who was no longer just a stranger but someone she felt an inexplicable bond with. "Are you sure this is an excellent idea?" Jake flashed her a warm smile. "Absolutely. Just two friends trying to create some delightful memories together." With hearts racing at the prospect of exploring their worlds, they stepped through the door, excitement crackling in the air around them. As they ventured out of the confines of the steamy restroom, Jake and Rena stepped into the brightly lit corridors of the celestial haven. The atmosphere buzzed with life as various species roamed about, each engaging in their routines, some curiously glancing at the unlikely duo. The stark contrast of their appearances made the pair a most unusual sight, hinting at a playful adventure to come. "Where to first?" Rena asked, eager to dive into the experience that awaited them. "How about trying some human food?" Jake suggested, bubbling with excitement. "There's a fantastic place where they serve this cheesy dish called pizza. It's legendary back on Earth." "Pizza?" Rena repeated, her alien pronouncement causing Jake to giggle. "Okay, lead the way. I shall sample this legendary Earth delight." The two made their way to a hangout spot frequented by both aliens and humans, where the scent of various cuisines wafted through the halls. As they walked, he pointed out distinct features in their surroundings: futuristic technology, intricacies of the station's design, and snippets of alien culture that caught Rena's attention. Every step towards the food court was filled with wonder as Rena expressed her delight in observing human customs. "You must explain how those strange food choices work. Do you have specific rituals for eating?" she asked, her curiosity palpable. Jake chuckled, delighted that she wanted to know. "Well, some people sing songs, others celebrate with friends. Generally, meals are all about sharing. You sit with others, sometimes swapping dishes." He leaned in conspiratorially. "Worst case scenario, you can end up throwing food at each other." Rena's eyes widened and her laughter filled the space. "You're joking. You truly throw food at one another? What fun." Their banter carried them to the food stall, where they placed their order. As slices of pizza sizzled in front of them, Rena marveled at the gooey cheese and fragrant pepperoni. "It looks divine. What do you recommend I start with?" Jake grinned, handing her a slice. "This is it, the culinary experience of your dreams." Her eyes gleamed with anticipation, and with a tentative bite she was transported to an explosion of flavor. "Delicious," she exclaimed, beaming with delight. "We must incorporate this into our celebrations." As they settled into a booth, sharing their thoughts on the food, the conversation mingled with laughter. Each cultural difference unearthed comedic misunderstandings. Jake describing Earth's unique holidays, while Rena regaled him with stories of her favorite Zinthal festivals, which often included wild dance and color displays, as well as gatherings of entire neighborhoods. The uniqueness that climbed between them transformed the casual encounters into a burgeoning friendship filled with exploration and intrigue. As they munched on the cheesy goodness and exchanged teasing remarks, It was clear that neither could deny the pull weaving their lives together. After devouring their pizza, Rena found herself still buzzing from the treats, her taste buds awakened. They decided it was time to dive deeper into earthly customs, promising to make this day one filled with exploration. Jake beamed, energized by their successful start and eager to introduce Rena to more human delights. "Next up, let's check out a human game," Jake suggested, his eyes shining with excitement. "There's a place for something called mini-golf nearby. It involves tiny obstacles and sinking balls into holes, but we can make it as ridiculous as we'd like." Rena giggled, her unfamiliarity with the concept sending waves of intrigue through her. "You mean to say you hit objects into holes for fun? That sounds most peculiar." Jake led the way to the mini-golf set, laughter dancing between them as they made their way. Upon arrival, Rena's eyes widened with delight, and she marveled at the bright colors and whimsical designs sprawled across the green course. "This is surprisingly captivating. Are we really going to hit things with sticks?" "You'll be a natural," Jake laughed, handing her a mini putter. "Just aim for the hole and give it a little swing. You'll see how fun this can be." As they played, Rena found herself clumsily navigating the tiny obstacles set before her. With each swing, she laughed louder than before, her alien grace faltering in spectacular fashion. "Is this what you call fun? I'm hitting an object and it's, well, chaos," she teased, sending Jake into fits of laughter. They soon slipped into a rhythm, their competitive spirits taking flight as they challenged each other on the course. Moments of unintentional silliness and cheerful competition unfolded, both trying their best to see who could score the lowest. The gentle teasing and shouts of encouragement created an infectious energy that brightened the surrounding atmosphere, catching the attention of fellow players nearby. With each missed shot, Rena couldn't help but chuckle at her absurd antics, playfully calling out, "Graceful is my middle name, perhaps in another life as an earthling." As the final hole approached, Jake turned to Rena, their eyes meeting fully, the playful banter momentarily a distant memory. "You know, this day has been amazing," he said softly, "and it's all thanks to your courage to step into the unknown." Rena felt a softness surrounding them, the energy palpable. "I must agree," she replied, heat rising to her cheeks. "I've never had more fun learning about your kind than I did today." In that moment, the air between them shifted, no longer just playful companions, but two souls entwined in laughter and shared discoveries, and with it came an undeniable attraction. As the sun began to set over the celestial haven, Jack and Rena felt a sense of camaraderie that seemed to grow deeper with each passing moment. Each escapade replaced their nervousness with shared joy, and the discovery of each other's worlds created an unspoken connection. Yet exhilaration held a fragile tension, a flicker hovering just beneath the surface. As they strolled hand in hand exchanging stories of their lives, the warmth of the moment took them both by surprise. Just as they reached a more secluded part of the station, Jake turned to Rena, his heart racing. "You know, I've really enjoyed today. You made it extraordinary, and you're not like anyone I've ever met before." Rena's breath caught in her throat, her heart swelling at his words. The chemistry hung heavy between them, words trembled on the tip of her tongue, but were swallowed by lingering uncertainty. As she stepped closer, yearning to meet him halfway, everything shifted when they were interrupted by a loud commotion from a nearby gather of patrons. Caught in their moment, each turned towards the distraction as they saw a group of humans engaged in an impromptu food fight, throwing bits of alien food and pizza slices at one another. Both Jake and Rena couldn't help but laugh, but as Rena shrieked in excitement, Jake glanced back at her with a smile, appreciating the spark within her. Yet the playful abandon led to disaster when one of the throwers, unceremoniously and without care, launched a pie right across the path. The trajectory was perfect, and in milliseconds, the creamy dessert splattered directly onto Jake's face. "Jake!" Rena gasped, half laughing and half shocked, as she wiped away the remnants of whipped cream. Caught off guard, he playfully pouted, bringing laughter from Rena as he exclaimed, "Well, that's a messy way to end a lovely day." They both erupted into laughter, but as the humor dwindled, Jake found himself instinctively leaning closer to Rena. You know, I'm glad we shared today together. It's made my time here quite memorable. Messy, but memorable." His breath was shaky, eyes locking onto hers, the playful tension now palpable. "Memorable indeed," Rena murmured, fingers brushing against his arm. Just at that moment, she felt a sudden urge to lean forward, and before they both knew it, they were on the precipice of sharing a kiss. Just as their lips were about to meet, a loud "Whoa!" erupted from the crowd, pulling both of them back into reality. Flushed and wide-eyed, Jake chuckled nervously while Rena shot him an apologetic look. The air had shifted once more, stepping away from exuberant joy towards an uncharted level of intimacy. In the aftermath of the interrupted moment, Jake and Rena wandered quietly for a moment, each processing the electricity hanging between them. The shared laughter had dissipated, replaced with an awkward yet tender understanding, the kind that lingered heavily yet beautifully. Jake broke the silence first, still splattered with remnants of pie. "Well, that was unexpected," he began slowly, casting a sideways glance at Rena. "I didn't mean to make you feel uncomfortable. It's just, there's something about you that makes me want to lean in closer." Rena's heart fluttered wildly at his admission. She had skated along the precipice of attraction and now seemed to teeter dangerously close to the edge. "I feel the same way," she confessed, cheeks glowing an even brighter shade of lavender. "But I can't help but wonder if it's simply the thrill of being with a human or if it's something more." "Maybe it's both," Jake offered, half smirking as he gingerly flicked whipped cream from his hair. "To be honest, I never imagined I'd feel this drawn to anyone on a space station, especially not an alien maid." Rena let out a soft laugh at his frankness, the tension easing yet still palpable. There's a charm in being unexpected. And here we are, two beings from entirely different worlds. "The thrill is part of the adventure," Jake replied earnestly, his gaze growing deep. "I could honestly see something special between us, something more than just curiosity or cultural exchange." Rena's heart skipped a beat. His words resonated within her, breaking through the last vestiges of hesitation. "You're right. I can't ignore this connection either. It terrifies me, yet the thought of pursuing it is tantalizing." The air shifted again, this time charged with promise. They both stepped slightly closer, feeling the warmth radiate between them, pounding in synchronization, undeniable chemistry growing stronger. Alighting atop the foundation of laughter and adventures, the moment had arrived where honesty beckoned them to embark upon a new journey. "Maybe we can explore this further," Jake suggested tentatively, hopeful joy mixed in with trepidation. "I would love that," Rena replied softly, breathless at the thought of what their relationship might grow into. They were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, fully aware that they had already taken the first step towards blending their worlds. Their romantic undertakings were marked by giddiness and adventure, but as they continued their newfound relationship, potential obstacles emerged. The first hint of disapproval crept in as whispers circulated throughout the celestial haven. Rena's fellow maids, curious about her frequent absences, had begun to suspect that she was pursuing something meriting a warning. "Shouldn't you keep distance? Afraid their type might not treat you right?" her friend Alana probed, her voice laced with concern. Rena felt a wave of defiance, but also concern, weighed down by the differences that divided their worlds. "Why does it matter what others think?" "Because they won't understand. You know that they talk," Alana reasoned, and doubt crept into Rena's heart, weaving threads of anxiety. Meanwhile, Jake faced his own challenges, the fears of judgment from his peers. "Are you sure about this?" a fellow human questioned as they gathered for lunch one afternoon. "You know, relationships across species can be tricky. What will happen with her? Are you willing to risk the repercussions?" Jake's mind spun with uncertainty, though he couldn't shake the connection he felt with Rena. "I know it's unconventional, but I'm drawn to her. Why should I deny how we feel?" Despite their innate determination, the weight of expectations grew heavier as misunderstandings piled on. The looming cloud of societal disapproval transformed playful encounters into heartfelt discussions filled with doubt, rattling the foundation they had been building. One quiet afternoon, both of them sat in a tranquil area of the station, their favorite spot with a view of distant stars. The air brimmed with unspoken worries, and finally, Rena broke the silence, her voice tinged with unease. "Are we really prepared for this? I feel as if the world around us doesn't approve." Jake met her gaze, his expression resolute. "Rena, we shouldn't let fear dictate our choices. We have something special, and I don't want to ignore it. Let's face this together, no matter how many voices urge us otherwise." "Together," she echoed, a flicker of hope igniting within her. With every passing moment, the gravity of their bond began to outweigh the shadows of concern. They were committed to working through the trepidations faced and trusting in the connection they had built. With renewed strength, Jake and Rena embarked on their journey as a unified front, confronting the naysayers and skeptics with courage and resolve. There were difficult conversations where doubts were aired and resolved, but together they learned the importance of communication, love, and genuine connection. As they discovered each other's cultures and backgrounds, the tapestry of their respective worlds intertwined into something vibrant and beautiful. Eventually, the couple decided to host a gathering, a small party that welcomed humans and aliens alike, designed as an opportunity to bridge the cultural gap. The night drew near, filled with a spark of excitement and nervous energy. Guests arrived, mingling in an eclectic harmony of laughter, music, and conversation. Rena took charge of coordinating human and alien dishes, showcasing the cultures that sparked their connection. As the evening unfolded, Jake and Rena circulated among their friends, serving food and drinks, while sharing their own love story, a whirlwind of curiosity, excitement, and cultural blend. Laughter filled the air, melting the once severe scrutiny surrounding them. With the culmination of the night approaching, Jake sensed the moment had arrived. He glanced over at Rena, who was alight with joy as she interacted with the guests. She radiated warmth that captivated everyone. The air hummed with a touch of magic, and he took a step closer. "Rena," he said, his voice smooth yet edged with anticipation. She turned, eyes glistening in the soft glow of the lights. "I can't ignore it any longer. You've changed my world. You're more than just another adventure. You've brought my heart closer to understanding love." The crescendos enveloped the room, and as Rena's heartbeat quickened, she stepped forward. "Jake, you challenged me to be more than just a maid. You opened my heart to something real, a fervor that feels like home." At that moment, under the shimmering lights and surrounded by familiar faces, they drew closer. They shared a tender kiss, their mouths colliding softly, yet infused with the fervor of newfound emotions. Their connection blossomed like a cosmic flower, one that blended the complexities of two worlds into an extraordinary bond. With smiles dancing on their lips, they pulled away and gazed into each other's eyes, both realizing they were ready to embrace the future together. In that moment, they knew nothing could come between them, not societal expectations, nor the whispers of doubt. Their love transcended all boundaries, illuminating every path ahead. And as the night carried on, the promise of new adventures shrank behind them, leading hand in hand into the oblivion of possibilities. A thrilling story unfolding in the unlikely embrace of human and alien, both eternally intertwined.